Today we are looking at History of the Daleks, set number 2, based on the Dalek invasion of Earth. An episode based on that time when the Daleks invaded Earth. No, not that time. Not that time either! No, that's the wrong fucking guy! There we go, that's the one. This set is based on the story of the same name, which came out in 1964, a year where we saw cinematic masterpieces like A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles coming out.
Hello, grandfather. Hello. He can talk then, can he? Of course he can talk. He's a human being, isn't he? Well, if he's your grandfather, who knows?
Like I said, a masterpiece. Moving back to the review, these Daleks come in the now standard Windows style packaging with the massive window on the front giving us a look at the figures, and the TARDIS on the side and the front as well, with the small window from above giving us a small view of what the Daleks look like from above. Rotating around to the back then gives us a lovely view of the two figures inside, as well as a brief synopsis of the episode itself, and thankfully, unlike the Keys of Marinus set, a brief synopsis of the Dalek props and history behind them, which is quite interesting. It even reveals some facts that I myself didn't know, so I'd say pause and give it a read. Upon opening the box, we are treated to this lovely rendition of the Dalek shuttlecraft / landing vehicle from the episode, where there can be a couple of Easter eggs seen, such as these collapsed / dilapidated buildings in the background, as well as this vertical takeoff on the floor. Don't know why Daleks need instructions. And quite a lovely little detail is, upon zooming in, you can see some Daleks hard at work ruling over Earth in there. Gotta love these guys, so dedicated to their job. And of course, the best Easter egg of all, there's a scuff mark. Thank you, character options, for including it again. Can't believe your attention to detail. Taking a look at these two figures out of the box, they are just blimmin' wonderful, but we'll take a look at the drone first. Now, as I feel like it's fairly obvious, this guy is essentially just a slightly modified Dead Planet Dalek, with the only real difference being that massive fender on the bottom. But I will say that doesn't take away from this figure being absolutely lovely at all. There's also a few subtle differences to help it stand out too. The silver that was used on the previous set of Daleks has been once more used here, and honestly, I'm so thankful for that. It really is a lovely silver. Like I said previously, it helps these Daleks just sort of pop and really stand out on your shelf. Now, that same silver has been applied to the main part of the Eye Stalker, and it is just perfect. It really helps the Eye Stalk stand out from the other sort of Daleks that we've received. And also, it's accurate to the original prop, as can be seen here. The bright silver continues onto the appendages such as the gun arm as well as the plunger arm, with another dark grey being used to help contrast the silver on the sort of skirt piece and the neck piece, and it just again really helps that silver pop and makes a really nice contrast. Speaking of the neck piece, there's some really nice wire mesh detail with some clean silver paint. Moving on to the back of the Dalek, we can see that there's a massive grey power dish thing there, which is actually meant to be the Dalek's power source. This is something that wasn't seen both on the original prop and the original Dalek figure reviewed last time, replacing the two lines that were seen on the original props. This is also something that is seen on the Supreme Dalek as well. Upon closer inspection, it also appears to have been painted in a darker matte grey compared to the original silver on the Saucer Pilot Dalek. Now we move on over to the Supreme Dalek, and I'm just going to say, this is why I wanted to buy this set. Originally, this guy was the SDCC exclusive back in 2009, but with that aside, I also just wanted to get him because he's just a really beautiful looking figure, especially with that silver contrasting the black and the blue contrasting the black again. It just looks really lovely. One way in which this guy differs from his original release is with the smaller eye stalk, which was seen on the previous figure pack. Again, something that is accurate to the props so that you could have shrinking and enlarging irises. This change is alright with me, considering it helps to make him more unique than his original release. Also, one small minor thing is that his eye stalk is actually inaccurate. The original prop's eye stalk was silver and black. But again, I don't have an issue with this, but if there are any collectors out there who do have an issue with this, then you can easily just swap this Dalek's eye stalk around with these Saucer Pilots, and that should satisfy you. Moving back down to the body, this Dalek actually utilises a darker black colour than the original figure does, and honestly, it's so nice. It really helps those silvers and blues pop, and come to think of it, this shade black reminds me of a certain type of insect, like a beetle or something. No, not that sort of beetle, get out of here! Okay, moving away from that, on the bottom of the Daleks, each of them, There's this really lovely sort of scuffing detail, but what I love is that how this differs from the previous sort of scuff marks on the base of the Daleks, and that it now looks more like sort of dirt than scratches and scrapes, which is really accurate considering that they were filming in London, and this is again an issue that these properties face, especially when they were trying to move around statues and different landmarks.
Look out, that will leave a mark.
Moving on to articulation, it's the same as the previous Dalek figures, with the eye stalk being able to move up and then down, the head being able to do a full 360, and the plunger being able to move up and then down, as well as all around thanks to the ball jointed socket. The gun arm can do this exact same articulation, being able to move upwards and downwards, as well as from side to side, and of course around and around. But with that out the way, that is this review finished. Hopefully you have all enjoyed, and hopefully you like these variants such as much as I do. They're beautiful additions to the shelf, especially Radiator being his massive 60s vibes, and that Supreme, just an absolutely wonderful figure. So pick this up if you can, although do be warned, scalp yourself for the price. But without further ado, that has been me doing this review. See you next time. Bye!